What's happening, everybody? I'm Brett Mix from Ultra Wrestling 101. Welcome to the Monday Night Wars. This is WCW side. Please hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying these shows. I love doing them. This is also archived, so whenever you want to relive the Monday Night Wars, you can go into my channel on its archive and find them there. So we're 105 weeks in totality through the war. Nitro has 86 wins. WWF has 17 wins and 2 draws. So this is the winning week with 105 weeks going in. This is Nitro that scored 4.3. Raw scored 2.4. So they won by a difference of 0.9 points. A difference of 0.9 points for this week's Nitro. As for this week, we went live on Monday, November the 10th from the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. This took place the night after Survivor Series in Montreal, which is important for this episode to keep in mind due to context. We first see a shot of the crowd as the nWo's theme blares loud. We don't first have pyros in the nWo entrance theme, but we are joined by Tenay, Zbyszko, and Schiavone. All three of them are there while the nWo theme blares through the crowd. The nWo come out with Canadian flags, mini ones, big ones, and this is alluded to by the now free agent Bret Hart, as if there was a home in the nWo for the Hitman. In the opening segment, Bischoff first introduced the big man that's been gone for a long time, Kevin Nash. Nash says he'd be with the Giant at World War III. He'll prove he's the real Giant at World War III. Bischoff says the second announcement he's made and gets to spend a billionaire's money, Ted Turner, with the most impressive of names. He talks about Bret Hart being knock-out kind of guy, with the reason as he knocked out Vince the night before. They say Bret is the newest member of the nWo by singing the Canadian national anthem. Schiavone on commentary after the pyros and entrance theme is now played. Welcome us to Nitro. Schiavone says Bret is a man who speaks for tradition. Why would he join the nWo? Zbyszko says he will believe it when he sees it, since Bret is a man of tradition. Eugene then speaks from the top of the entrance stage about Bret being in the nWo apparently, and the fans call him on the hotline. They'll get to know about the incident. So they called the Montreal Screwjob when it first happened the incident, and they were actually letting people call in and tell them the scoop for $1.99. Anything you could back then in the pre-internet days. The internet was around, but not as it's used today anyway, back then. Dave Taylor and Steven Regal take on Harlem Heat. Regal and Taylor score the upset over an established team in Harlem Heat. Thunderous clotheslines, a lot of double underhooks. Booker T went up for a Harlem hangover and lost his balance. Stevie Ray with a double underhook had the match won for them, but the way Dave Taylor blocked his shoulders, he was pressed on the mat, and Dave Taylor and Regal scored the upset tag team victory. I gave the match a star. Chris Jericho took on Disco Inferno next. Disco with a running lariat to Jericho. Raven and his flock come to the ringside area. Disco points down to Jericho and then catches a spinning heel kick. Jericho turns around a powerbomb into a backbreaker, then the Lion Tamer for the win. This continued Disco Inferno's losing streak, including against the likes of Jacqueline. I gave that match 3/4 of a star. Raven hit one of the members of his flock after the match, either for an initiation or something else, as Riggs was the man who had his eye bled a couple weeks ago. He's wearing a patch over his eye, and Raven treats his misfits in the flock like they should worship him, as he beats on every one of them, and there's no particular reason why. Glacier then takes on the Barbarian with Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart made his return, and in a town like Memphis, he is known as the fans chanted Jimmy, Jimmy for him. A big-time kick by Glacier to the Barbarian, a Corona kick off the top, and wins the match. I give the match a half a star as the Glacier defeats the Barbarian. Mang, the Barbarian's longtime partner in the Faces of Fear, meets him in the ring after the match when the lights went dark for the Glacier's snowfalling thing. Raven then came to the ring talking about apologizing and speaks about his childhood. Raven says, "Don't blame me, so it is written, so it shall come to pass," quote the Raven, nevermore. Continues to quote Edgar Allan Poe while he sits in the corner of the ring, and then he sits on his butt in the corner of the ring doing these promos. They feature a vignette on Goldberg and all the men he's taken down so far. Eugene Nagata with Sonny Ono takes on Alex Wright with Queen Deborah. I thought this was a good match, a lot of reversals, a lot of high-flying aerial offense. Sonny Ono on the outside kissed Queen Deborah, who then slapped Ono. Eugene Nagata has right in the Nagata lock, and it's that Nagata lock that keeps giving Eugene Nagata all these wins. Decent TV match until the ending with the managers. I gave the match a star and a half rating. Second hour of Nitro, pyros go off in the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. Heenan comes to the booth. Bischoff comes out with Hollywood Hogan with a look of business on their faces this time. They were partying an hour ago with the Canadian flags, but now they have business on their mind. Hogan and Bischoff reveal a movie poster with Sting on it. They're both mad that he's trying to get into Hollywood, which is Hollywood Hogan's domain, so they're really irritated by this. Hogan is so white hot at the time, he invited Sting to come and get Hogan's tonight. He never came, but the broadcasters can't figure out why they're saying Bret's in the nWo, and Heenan says it's a black eye on the sport if Bret was in the nWo. So that ends the segment with Hogan and Bischoff just calling out Sting, but he never showed up. Not yet, anyway. Saturn with the title defended the TV championship against Chris Benoit. Benoit came at Saturn with vicious headbutts and extremely hard knife-edge chops. A side suplex by the crippler. Even when he's working a methodical pace, it's still gripping, hard-nosed style. No wasted motion in his offense. Benoit with a hard clothesline, A hard clothesline, and they fell for a belly-to-belly before the DQ. Raven's crew comes in the ring, and Benoit tossed him out before locking in a crossface. Then Richards, or Van Hammer, or whoever dressed as the street worker from hell, distracted Benoit, but Finlay takes advantage of that face as he came out. Saturn retained the TV title of an apparent disqualification. I gave the match a star. Mean Gene introduces Ric Flair, the Nature Boy. Flair then comes out with a ton of charisma. Flair says he's going to win, and Memphis, if you don't believe I'm number one, he'll watch how you'll dismantle Luger in about 20 minutes. Well, actually, in about 45 minutes from that, not 20 minutes. Flair talks about taking apart the nWo, and he's going to do it methodically, one by one. Eddie Guerrero takes on Rey Mysterio Jr. for the Cruiserweight title. This is the rematch from the Classic at Halloween Havoc. Eddie's trying to win his title back. They meet at the World War III pay-per-view event, which is another classic, in just 2 short weeks after this event. Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero always spells a good time. I believe Rey Mysterio put this match on his Biggest Little Man DVD set. It's got a ton of counters, reversals, and some innovative spots that we didn't see at Halloween Havoc. Springboard, split leg, and moonsault attempts. Hurricane Rana into a senton. A lot of combination moves that were really impressive. Eddie, though, wins the match if you catch him with a frog splash for 3 at 6 or 7 minutes. So Eddie B wins the Cruiserweight title, and he's the new champion. I gave that match 3 stars and a quarter. Malenko came to the ring to look into the eyes of the new champ. Then we have Ray Traylor take on Macho Man Randy Savage with Elizabeth. Ray Traylor, after a couple of bouts with the nWo's Norton, but now gets the more experienced challenge in the Hall of Fame veteran who showed DDP he can still go in the Macho Man. Ray Traylor with 2 jumps on Savage. Liz grabbed the leg of Traylor as she's physically getting involved in Savage's matches now. Macho Man slams Traylor to the mat, then went for his signature elbow drop, and he landed it, getting him the 3 count. Traylor was declared the winner by the official's decision for whatever reason, so I gave that a star and a half. Savage went up for another elbow and then spray painted nWo as Liz also spray paints Ray Traylor with a smile on her face, which shocks the commentators. DDP takes on Kurt Henig for the U.S. title. Diamond Dallas Page challenging Henig for this belt. This was a great match that went back and forth. Henig isolated the ribs of DDP, which were taped off, and he ripped the padding off the ribs. And then after that, Kurt Henig tried to get this to be a quick match, but DDP was resilient. He wanted the bang. His signature pancake move was hit, but then Henig grabbed the U.S. title and hit DDP in the head with it, causing the disqualification. So I give the match 2 stars and a quarter, and it ended in a DQ, so there's no title switch. Next up, we have the main event, Lex Luger and Ric Flair. Luger and Flair definitely have some history, but their primes were both 10 years ago, you could say, in the NWA. So there was no like big-time rivalry going in the late 90s in their prime anyway, but they still had the match here. Flair then chops Luger hard in the corner, and Luger went for a walk, saying nothing phases him. In the end, Luger wins by DQ after Henig attacked him with the belt. So that's just a tradition that Henig has on this night. They end the show with Hogan saying, "Where's Sting?" Sting eventually drops from the rafters, and Sting and Hogan, there's a beatdown. The nWo has a huge beatdown on Sting like we've never seen as we're leading up to Starrcade. So this Nitro was centered around that. I give it 7.5 out of 10 because it not only had some great wrestling, it had the announcement of Bret Hart, and it had the Sting and Hogan ending. So 7.5 out of 10 for this Nitro. Hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying the reviews. I'm Brett Mix, and I'm out.